Morning folks. Well, I'm out trig bagging again near Holystone Common. So you just pick the sign up there. This is the road going up. That's the track. If you cut straight through there, brings you out at Harbottle. And we're just going to head down this track here. I had a go at this the other day and I didn't leave myself enough time. And I didn't want to get cut off with daylight hours. So I'm having another go at it now. So it's probably about half past 10 or something. And got plenty of time. So it does say on that gate there that it's shut because of the trees being down with Storm Arwen and that, but it's not. There's a bit of a sketchy path in a minute. I'll bring you back when we get to that just to give you a look. But for the minute, there's a little bit of rain in the air. It's perfectly still. It's great coming through all the villages and that when you can see the smoke coming out the chimneys. It was just going straight up into the air. There was not a breath of wind. So it's quite a picturesque walk this. As you come down into this wood forest area, there's a mixture of plantation type trees and then some smaller stuff which is all covered in lichen further down. It's quite eerie. So anyway, I hope you enjoy coming on. We're going to cut down this path here, loop round, climb up the other side of the valley, out onto the tops, and then head over in that direction. The other day when I did it, it was bleak. It was windy, sleet. So fingers crossed it stays like this. There's forecast for rain, but I'm dressed for it, so I'll bring you back short. An interesting little natural feature. We're just passing here. This tree. How on earth that is clinging on there. More importantly, how much longer is it clinging on for? Because there's quite a few rocks on the floor down here that have obviously tumbled down in the recent rainfall, I would guess. So, dead picturesque down here. It's a proper little, looks like Lord of the Rings. Just seen two roe deer just bounding through the bracken. Little white bums up in the air. Token gnarly tree. Plenty of gnarly trees along here. Always amazes me with deer when you see them and they're pretty close and they bound off doing their little leaps through the bracken and everything, and there's never a sound. They do it stealthy. I mean, there's had barely a breath of wind today and they were probably only about 50 yards away. I couldn't hear them. I could just see these white bums bouncing up and down in the air. As you can see, more of these spooky trees with the green lichen on. Pretty easy walk this bit. Nice sort of forestry trail. I think it's probably been shut for about a year since Storm Arwen. Well, it just doesn't look to have been a lot of traffic down here. This bit of the woods here, fairly unscathed, so north's over yonder, so as the winds come, I think the hillside's protected this bit. There's a bit more collateral damage over that side. Gained a bit of height now, got a little stream flowing below, which runs out of the Otterburn firing ranges. So I do like this path though because it's flat. So I keep telling my friends when I'm out and about walking with them, get your heads up and have a look round, because a lot of people walk and they're just staring at the ground. And admittedly, if it's rough underfoot, you've got to, because you don't want to be turning an ankle. But when you've got something like this, it's an absolute joy just to have a mooch and see what you can spot. Again, it's dead picturesque little twisty turny river. goes under a pipe just here, comes out this side. I'm just going to start climbing up out the valley bottom. A sign there saying keep out if the red flags are flying. So it's New Year's Eve today, so there's no shooting going on today. Well, that's a bit of a daft sign, because from here you can't see any red flags anyway. We'll continue. If you're going to copy this walk, basically climb up out of the valley following this track, and in about another 150 yards there's a turn to the left, which kind of doubles back on yourself. The path's a bit more overgrown, and then I'll bring you back to where the tricky bit is. Got a bit of a blow on now. So this is the track I've come up, which you loop down around the bottom there. So as you come up, look for this dry stone wall that's running up, and the path is actually where this tree's fallen over, which by complete fluke I took the other day. I got so far up and it looked easier to cut through the woods, so it's kind of walking up what looks like a dried up stream bed, but it's not. It is a path. Follow it all the way to the top. Don't try and cut out of it, because the heather over the crest of the hill is like waist deep. It's a nightmare. So just look for the dry stone wall, turn right, and follow your nose. Now I've had to just come up this track here, which is quite hard going, but rumour has it there's been a murder up here, and police have been combing the area. What on earth that's doing up here, I don't know, but as it's plastic, I shall go and chuck it in the bin. There's a bit of a clamber coming up the path, but it's still easier than going just through the heather. And at the top you'll get to this gate, which I spent a lot of time opening the other day, and then I've realised I think that's happened since 2 days ago. But anyway, you'll get to the top, you'll see a sign to say you're entering onto the ranges, and there's a marker post just there. So when you get to the top, turn left, there's a stile just at the dry stone wall, and just follow the edge of the woods along, and I'll bring you back in a minute and tell you which. So you might just pick out the sign in the distance there. So when you come out the woods, turn left, there's a stile across the dry stone wall. Keep following the edge of the woodland up till it comes to a bit of a corner here, like a 45-degree corner. So when you get to this, you can see that the path is going off that way. However, if you just kind of off-road it a little bit this way, you'll pick up a quad bike trail, which is much easier going. It's a lot flatter, and then you just follow the quad bike trail along and then round, and I'll pick up where you need to turn off there. Hi folks, so when you come up from with the woods behind you, if you can pick up on the quad bike trail that goes through the fields, as you just start to follow it, you'll see that there's some trees away in the distance there, and also if you notice there's a raised area off to the left. If you take this raised area and follow it down to the fence, and then follow the fence all the way along, just keep following that fence to the very end, it'll get you there. Whereas this route kind of takes you on a bit of a meander. I know I'm running out of battery, but I need to rant. Another bloody helium balloon, miles from anywhere, like properly miles from anywhere. Just fill them with normal air and stick them on a stick. Well folks, bagged it, and I wouldn't say it was an easy in this. It was far from it. So as you get towards the, I'll just come back around this way and try and show you a little bit of the route, if I can do it without breaking my neck. Crikey, alright. So there's a cairn on the top, as you can see. However, there's a couple of trees that had grown and then fallen down. So I have come from, I don't know if you can see the fence line running off diagonally across the distance there, but the last maybe 300 or 400 yards, it's like knee deep, waist deep heather, just a trudge through there. Quite atmospheric with all the mist and everything. There's not a breath of wind, spotting onto rain, but nothing major. So I'm going to have myself 5 minutes. I'm even going to put my chair up I brought with me, have my sandwiches, and then I'm going to crack on. I'm going to go across there, and if I've got enough battery left, I'll bring you back. Looks like there's some sort of interesting looking cairn thing there, so I can't pass that up without having a little mooch before I go. And then as I go back across the ridge in the distance there is a footpath going off that way, so I might have a little dodge out a couple of 100 yards just to see what the view's like, although if it's going to be foggy I may be wasting my time. I'll bring you back. So I've just consulted with the phone, and we're at the beacon, Dews Hill, 301 metres. And while I'm here, I'm going to go and have a look at the Five Kings. So hopefully I've got enough battery to give you a shot of that as well. Well, I think that's what's called giving yourself a chowing. I came loosely sort of through the woods and then started to follow this line up. I was on the other side. Obviously I got to this bit here and it was just not happening. So good job I'm slim, because I managed to slide myself under the fence here. Now we need. Well folks, here we are on the Five Kings, which I don't have a clue what it is. I'm going to have to I'll give it a quick spin round, do a bit of googling when I get back. The sign's up saying it's an archaeological area, and I'm guessing it's a burial type thing. I mean, it's a circular shape. It looks as though behind me there, where you've got the dip in the rock, that looks like the natural entrance. And then it does look potentially, where you've got these raised areas here, that it was potentially rooms, you know, like, but I'm no archaeologist. So down there's like a lower area, which does looks like there might be a little like pit in the bottom, like one of them burial cyst things, but it's quite an atmospheric place to be on a day like this, where you've got the mist in the valley bottoms. Still not a breath of wind. It's brilliant. Been the odd spot of rain. So I'm going to carry on my little adventure back to the car. So just in the distance behind me there, those cluster of trees, I had a mooch around there the other day. That's where it's on the outskirts of the ranges, this is. So you find bullets dotted about on the floor, and that just spent blanks. But I've got to make my way back down to this fence line, all the way along, and then back through the Forest of Doom. So if I've got any battery left, I'll bring you back. If I haven't, Happy New Year, all the best for 2023, and I'll catch you on the next one.